All right, the question is, could it be the end of an era for the Cleveland Browns? The GM, Mr. Berry, all right, he came out, Andrew Berry, and talked about the future of Nick Chubb and Joe Flacco. And I want to talk in this video about what he had to say and what the future looks like in the backfield for the Cleveland Browns, despite all this crazy stuff. And in this, I saw an Athletic article, and usually this is behind a paywall. And so how do I want to put it? I don't necessarily like doing that, but it's not, because I'm not subscribed to it right here. So it says subscribe for $2. Apparently my subscription ran out. So anyways, I'm going to have to renew that bad boy. But Andrew Berry talked for 30 minutes with the media. And here's what he said. He honestly said, I'm not going to give you much. He even talked about that at the end. He acknowledged that he's not going to share much when the Browns finalize those plans. But he talked about the future of a couple people. And here's what he said. Obviously, I understand there's a little bit of an elephant in the room, Berry said. With Nick, all right, I can say for myself and the organization, nobody wants to see that carry in Pittsburgh be the last time he carries the ball for the Cleveland Browns. And obviously there are things that we'll have to work through, but that would not be our intention. We'll obviously work to keep him on the team. All right, he talked about how he's still very early in the rehab process. Both the tenacity which he has attacked his rehab has been impressive. He did everything in his power this year to heal himself, but also make a positive impact with the team. He wanted to do everything. All right. He talks about his respect for Nick Chubb. He talks about it being a 10 out of 10, a 20 out of 10. Like, he goes on to say all this kind of stuff. He has to say that. All right. And he also said the biggest thing about the recovery is that it doesn't seem like there's going to be anything that would, how do I want to say this, be a limitation going forward. But the elephant in the room, and I want you to get used to this, all right, website over the off season, and other ones like it. And it's a website called Spotrac. And if you can't see, I'll get a little closer here for you. All right, this is Nick Chubb's contract. You gave him a 3-year, $36 million contract. Honestly, for him, it's understandable and it makes sense. All right, the cash or the cap hit was at its all-time low last year. Really good value. This year, all right, you paid him $15 million against the cap. Next year, almost $16 million. Yeah, $16 million. But then there's this number over here called the dead cap. So this year, if you had gotten rid of him, you would have saved $4 million because your cap hit was 14.8 and your dead cap was 18.8. So you would have lost $4 million. You would have owed him all that money. Well, because of that difference in what you paid him versus what was left on his contract, you have a dead cap of $4 million. So if you decide to part ways with him, okay, absolutely understandable. If you cut him, you could re-sign him. You could restructure this contract. All right, you could do a lot of different things. You could restructure this into a 2-year, $20 million. Like, it depends on what he'd want to do with it. If you just straight cut him, you save, based on my math, $11.85 million, $825 million. So $11,825,000 is what you save. This is what we call the potential out in 2024. It says it right here. All right, this is the out of the contract for only $4 million. This is why it's so important to talk about the difference between how much money did we give a guy versus what was the contract actually worth. All right, so in this $36 million contract that he had, it was a $12 million signing bonus with a $12 million or $20 million guaranteed. All right, it was $12 million guaranteed. So you have to pay that out, or $20 million. I don't know if I said 12, but it's $20 million guaranteed. You have to pay that out. Now, I know he's not the same running back. I know that. Here's the current contract for Jerome Ford. next year, he is due $1 million. And they have him the following year after that for 1.2, basically. The dead cap's almost nothing, but why would you cut him to save $1 million? He's a good running back. I think when you see him with the offensive line fully back, you're going to see something that's considerably better. All right, I really do. I think he's a good running back. I don't know what else to tell you. I think there's explosion there. The PFF grade would show that. I mean, he averaged 4 yards per carry behind the line that he currently is behind. It's not bad, right? It's not bad. He averaged 4 yards per carry. He had 204 yards for over 800. Just to give you a little example, Kareem Hunt had 135 yards, and he turned that into 411 yards. 411. That was 3 yards per carry. We understand Kareem Hunt's not what Kareem Hunt used to be. Okay? The only reason the PFF grade isn't a ton higher for Jerome Ford is very simply because Kareem Hunt took his touchdowns. So you're telling me there's not another running back that you can bring in to work in tandem with Jerome Ford and have success this year? I'm telling you, I think there is. I do. And I understand wanting to keep Nick Chubb, but I think the only way it happens is if they cut him and then re-sign him to a new 2-year deal. I don't think that when he has $15 million left, he says, you know what, let's just restructure this guy and I'll take it over 2 years or something like. If he was willing to do that, yeah, keep him 2 years, $20 million, $10 million a year. Like, that might not be the worst thing, but you guys are not in a good cap situation. You just aren't. All right, you're running into the next year with an estimated negative $11 million in cap space, which just so happens to be the cap number for Chubb. There's other places you can trim the fat. We'll talk about that in videos going forward. But now's a good time for me to talk about what we do here on this channel. Pretty simple. We're Lions fans. We started with Sports Talk Detroit, and then we wanted to do more. We love the NFL, but mostly we have a heart for the little guy. In other words, teams that the national media ignores. So we started with like 10 teams, and we've really narrowed it down to 2, the Brownies and the Texans. So you're not going to see us do a bunch of crazy videos about all these popular teams, the New York teams, Dallas, the Bears, right? Like all that kind of stuff. No, get it out of here. All right. LA. No, we are sticking with the teams that the national media doesn't talk about. And so we want to give you Browns love throughout the offseason. Because let's be honest, when you turn on ESPN, you're not going to hear a lot about the Browns. You're just not. All right. So we want to be that source for you. So make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Keep checking us out almost daily for videos on the Browns. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.